Ubers vs Bastard Munin is easily Isagi's best performing game so far, and the most he's developed in one single game in all of BLUELOCK. From learning a new weapon, evolving his metavision, and scoring 2 goals in one game, something that even Kaiser hasn't done, it brings up the question, how good is Isagi? And of course, the best answer to this is to compare his performance to some of the best players we know so far, and I'm specifically talking about the New Gen 11. Makes the most sense since Kaiser, who is a part of it, is his rival, and the New Gen 11 have been the most hyped up players to go against, something the boys strive to be. It's kind of insane to think that Isagi has grown to the point of being on the same level as players who have previously steamrolled him, and the debate is way closer than you would think, so let's dive into it. Is Isagi New Gen 11 level? Obviously, the New Gen 11 are pre-selected players, the best 11 of, well, the new generation, but we can also use it as a scaling factor. First things first, I think we should define what makes a New Gen 11, as we know that they aren't just named that for no reason. There isn't really any specific qualifications, but we could just compare them to the players we do know. You guys already know this. There are 3 New Gen 11 players currently: Itoshi Sai, Michael Kaiser, and Don Lorenzo. Each of them have a certain ability that puts them up there. Sai with his dribbling and passes, Kaiser with Kaiser impact, and Lorenzo with his defensive skills. It's not just the weapons that make them New Gen 11 though. I think it's also being an all-rounder or the whole package, and we also see that they're exponentially better than all the players around them. Like, compare Sai to any of the U20 boys and he just makes them look like fodder. I'll talk more about New Gen 11 qualities later on, as it ties into Isagi and his performance in the Ubers vs Bastard Munin game. Now, what we're looking for is Isagi to pretty much have the same qualities as them, or feats, or just anything similar. But let's go back to the start of Ubers vs Bastard Munin, as again, this is Isagi's best performance in a game, and we have to cover all the feats in order to give an accurate rating. Isagi's position in this match is right midfielder, as per usual, but his feats don't just come from the midfield, and keep that in mind for later. Isagi starts off using 100% metavision, different than the Munchen game where he learned it mid-match. Another key factor was that he was already drained after using it so little during Munchen, and then during the downtime between the Ubers match, he was able to train his stamina and somehow use metavision the whole match. I'm a little confused by that as well, but it just goes to show how powerful Isagi is now, comparing to Kaiser, who has been able to use it the whole match. His metavision as well seems to have evolved, making plans for every scenario, such as Yukimiya trying to steal the ball, and Ness messing him up, which he counters with a lefty direct. The goal was brought about from his main weapon, of course being metavision, and this brings me back to my point earlier. All the New Gen 11 players have weapons or skills that help them stick out or score goals, and in Isagi's case, it's his metavision. His metavision helped them get into a good position, read the field, and counter other players. First goal, pretty simple. So Isagi has the weapon part down, and I will go more in depth with that later, especially when it comes to using metavision for the final goal, because that last goal was just insane. The next thing is Isagi's numerous defensive feats, either shutting down attacks completely, intercepting passes, or even keeping Snuffy at bay. Honestly speaking, it seems like Isagi has done more on defense than the defenders themselves. It just goes to prove how much of an all-rounder Isagi is, being able to read the game, block barou 4 times from ending the game, and of course utilizing his teammates like Yoichi to defend. Isagi's defensive feats, in my opinion, separate him from other players like barou or Shido, for example, players who are better than him at scoring, but he's better as an all-rounder. And when it comes to the New Gen 11, they don't just stick to their roles, but they're able to do other things as well. A prime example being Sai, who can both shoot and defend, even though he's a midfielder. Isagi is able to stick out because of this, being able to offer a lot to the team, as we see him defend, assist other players, and start plays. New Gen 11 players are also so good to the point where the team revolves around them. We see that with Sai in the U20, Kaiser with Bastard, and Lorenzo with Ubers. And with Isagi, we see that he's starting to take the spotlight of Bastard, with teammates starting to follow him, utilizing them, and bringing out their fullest potential. I think that's also another big reason why he's starting to near their level. He's starting to attract others towards him, quite literally at that, just like the other New Gen 11 players. So Isagi hitting another quality of a New Gen 11 player, which is having the team follow you or attracting players from your skill. Ubers vs Bastard, the whole game in my opinion is revolving around Isagi. Nobody except Kaiser, barou, and Lorenzo can contend in that, and with Isagi's last goal, I think he definitely stuck out the most. The build up to this goal, although kind of dragged out because the Hiyori development, is one of the best goal buildups we've seen. First, Isagi chooses Hiyori as the only one who could help him score, as he believes he's the only one who could read the game just like him, which he says will win them the game, even gambling his starting spot on it. Hiyori and Isagi proved to be a really good duo, reading the game, stealing possession multiple times, and moving upfield. Hiyori, complaining about his parents for the millionth time, develops his ego and shoots the ball, but ends up missing. But Isagi is able to adapt to this and use it to his own advantage, thinking of a plan on the fly to help himself score. That alone is really cool. Being able to adapt as well is one of his best skills, and we've seen it since the start of his journey in BLUELOCK, with Chigiri, Bachira, barou, stuff like that. Isagi basically remotivates Hiyori to to do one more attack and rely on their instincts to play reflexively. And because of this, Hiryo is able to find his winning formula, his ego, and enter the flow state, even passing the Uber's defense, which is not an easy feat. He's able to beat out Nico, Abdi, Barou, and even Lorenzo twice before linking up with Isagi, who at this point are both linking up by reflex, not even thinking, to score this insane goal. He isn't using an absolute weapon like Kaiser Impact or Predator's Eye, but his vision of the game to score his own goals, and that's what makes him such a good player. Besides all those feats mentioned before, Isagi is able to draw in people towards him to not get devoured by him, which in turn evolves the players explosively. Even if he doesn't have the raw skills or talent to dribble such as players like Sai, he could use the other talents around him to help himself, while also helping others. We see that Hiryo wouldn't have even tried or improved mid-match if it wasn't for Isagi, and that's what I said a second ago. Players don't want to get devoured by him and evolve even further to adapt. This one goal alone shows that Isagi has the qualities of players in the new Gen 11, motivating players to play, his adaptation skills, using his own absolute weapon, and of course scoring, which is what matters the most. Alongside all the other feats he had in this match, such as being able to use metavision the whole time, defending against the Ubers multiple times, and breaking through their formation to score 2 whole goals, Isagi has taken over the game as the star of the match. I think that's a key trait of the new Gen 11 players as well, the fact that their skills attract others towards them, maybe even motivating them like Sai did in the U20. By gathering players around them and using their skills as well, it helps them stick out as the main player of the match, and to cover up any weaknesses. And not only that, his potential as well has a very high skill ceiling, since he still needs to develop his physique, stamina, and other characteristics, and I think that's a reason for the new Gen 11, the 11 players of the new generation that have the most potential. So with Isagi having an absolute weapon to help him score goals, becoming the star of the match by gathering others around him, the rest of his skills and feats, and proving all of that with 2 goals in 1 game, my final answer, I do think Isagi is new Gen 11 level. That 1 goal really solidified it for me. Isagi is kind of overpowered at the moment, so it isn't far off to say that he is a new Gen 11 level. Main villains or rivals for this series, I think, are the world-class players, as Isagi wants to become the #1 striker in the world, so it does make sense that he's not on world-class level, but new Gen 11 level. He does have a lot of room to improve to catch up to the other world-class talents and new Gen 11 players, as his stats aren't on par with the other players. I mean, Kaiser went one-on-one with Chris Prince for God's sake, but I think his skills and goals that he's scored prove his worth. I think moving forward for the World Cup arc, he's gonna have to improve even further to counter world-class talents, as it's proven the NEL that he isn't on their level yet, with Levinho and Snuffy proving that. But if Isagi is able to replicate his performance in the Ubers game come time for PXG, with the help of others like Corona and Hiyori, I think this will prove Isagi to be one of the best players at the end of the NEL, worthy of being on par with the new Gen 11. And this makes me so excited for the future of BLUELOCK. We see Barou improved a lot as well. I think the same argument could be made with him, and we still haven't seen Rin or Shido, so I can't wait. If you watched to the end, thank you so much for watching, supporting the vids and the streams. I appreciate y'all more than I can say. At the time of this recording, we're at 9.9k and we're just that close to 10k. It's actually crazy. I probably could have recapped the game some more, but I know you guys already read it, so I'm trying to be different and just discuss more feats and stuff. This is a very fun video to make. Let me know your guys' opinions on Isagi being new Gen 11 level. If he isn't, if he is, I don't know, just let me know. My name's Hiryo. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.